Hey y'all, it's Ali from Little Hill Homestead. Today, we're making sourdough bread. It's been a very, very long time, I will be honest, since I have made sourdough, and we are doing a low country boil tomorrow for dinner. And one of my kids requested just regular old sourdough bread to go with it. So I have that already started over here, but I decided since I always make two loaves at the same time. Usually I'll do like an herb cheese, blah, blah, blah mix, but today I wanted to do a different one. When we were in California recently, my sister buys sourdough. She should make it herself, but she's a lazy bum. She bought this sourdough and I had a piece of it, and it was a blueberry lemon sourdough, and I decided I'm going to try to recreate it. So I did look at a few recipes online, and I bought fresh blueberries and decided I'm going to go with dried blueberries instead after reading a bunch on it. So this is going to be our first attempt at this recipe. I'll be honest with you guys. If it's good, awesome. If it's not, I probably won't post this. That's the way it is, right? Anyways, what we're going to do is start with our blueberries. So we get dried blueberries from Trader Joe's. They're dried wild blueberry. They're just dehydrated blueberries, and they have the best price. Every time I go to Trader Joe's, I grab a bag of these because they're like little candies. They're delicious. So I have two little bowls here. One is for our lemon zest, and one is going to be for our blueberries. We want to hydrate the blueberries just a little bit, but the reason we're not going to use fresh blueberries, if you guys have ever made blueberry muffins, you know that sometimes they're really wet, and so they kind of like almost pop and absorb into it. We don't want that. We want one that is definitely going to be like, oh, there's blueberries, and not get like weird blue purpley streaks through your dough. So that's the reason we're using dried. So we are going to do 30 grams. It would help if I turned on my, it's also tiered out. So 30 grams of blueberries is what we're going to add. I'm going to add 40 because that doesn't look like enough. All right. There's my blueberries. I like blueberries. When I was a kid or young adult, I actually didn't, but now I find them to be quite delightful. I'm going to hit the tear button to bring my stuff back to 0 grams. We're going to add some maple syrup. This is some maple syrup that we got at the Fig Tree in, where were we? The Amish store, Fig Tree. It's in somewhere in Ohio. We were 45 minutes outside of Mentor, but it's a little just store. They had it at some of the other stores we went to, but I'm trying to get through this one. So we're going to do 20 grams of maple syrup onto our blueberries. The blueberries are going to kind of absorb that. So it's going to add a little pop of sweetness, dribbled down the side, of course. And then the last thing we're going to do is I have my kettle of hot water. We're going to just add water to cover our blueberries fully. Just enough that they are covered. I don't know if you can see it. Well, you can't see it, but there's our blueberry mixture. I'm going to just swirl it around. Everybody is covered. Let me add a little bit more. There we go. And we're just going to set that to the side. The next bowl that we've got, we are going to add 20 grams of brown sugar to our bowl. This is our homemade brown sugar. It's just white sugar and molasses mixed together. If you guys haven't made brown sugar, I'll link the recipe below. It's really easy to make. I buy my molasses in bulk from Azure Standard, and I usually just always have a jar going. We're also going to use the zest of 1 lemon. And so this is just a lemon we had. Like I said, we're doing the low country boil, and so we use the lemon wedges for a low country boil. So this was the perfect opportunity to use the lemon zest in this recipe. So I just use one of these little microplaners to get my zest off. You don't want to get too much of the pith, the white part, because that gets bitter. So you're just kind of surface scraping your zest off of here. And you don't want to do lemon juice. It's going to mess with the hydration of your sourdough, which is okay to do a little bit, but also the acidity in it. I wasn't looking forward to that mixing with the sourdough, but I wanted the sweetness of the lemon zest, which is why we're going with this route. I can't remember. Honestly, I looked up a bunch of recipes and I kind of merged them together to make a recipe. I know Pantry Mama was one that we kind of looked at. For sure, I know that was one of the ones that I pulled from. She has great recipes. So, all right. She's just got a blog, by the way. So all we're going to do with that, I'm going to use my fingers because you can, is you're going to mush them, mush the lemon zest into your brown sugar. And that's just going to kind of coat your lemon zest, and it's going to infuse the lemon into your brown sugar. And then that also is just going to get set to the side. Let me rinse my fingers off real quick. Okay, so I have our add-ins done, and those need to sit for about an hour. The reason I'm doing them now is because by the time I get to that point in my sourdough where I need to add that stuff, it'll be just over an hour. So that'll be perfect for, I need my scale back, sorry. Okay. So I will also link below my basic sourdough recipe. It's just 4 ingredients. It's flour, starter, red flour, starter, water, and salt. I'll link that below if you haven't seen that video. It's from like, I don't know, December. I think it was December of last year that we put it up on the channel. But for today, we're going to be doing our lemon blueberry. It's very similar to our traditional sourdough. You'd use the same properties with stretch and folds and a lot of these things. And I try to make sourdough really simple because a lot of channels make it very, very difficult, and it doesn't need to be. It's just bread, y'all. So what we need to do here is we need to get measuring cups ready. I have a big bowl. This thing, honestly, I thought I wanted a big crock bowl. It's really heavy, so I don't always use it. I prefer my Pyrex and my metal bowl that I have over there. But I have this one to the side. What I'm going to do is measure our ingredients in grams and then move it over to our big bowl. So what I'm going to start with is 350 grams of warm water. I'm just at my sink, you guys. Don't worry. I didn't leave you. Don't forget to tear out. Okay, there's 1 cup. I like to try to tell you in grams and cups so that if you're doing either. It's basically 2 cups of water is what you're adding, just under 2 cups of water. So that's going to go into our bowl. Then I'm going to tear it out again. Tear, zero it out. Whatever, you know what I mean. And then we need 500 grams of bread flour, which is typically right around 3 cups. How do I want to do this? I just wet this, so it's going to get gross and stuff's going to stick. So let me wipe that down a little bit. All right. So the bread flour that we use, we make it's all-purpose flour, and we add vital wheat gluten to it. So it's 1 cup of all-purpose flour, your choice. We use it unbleached, and then it's 1 teaspoon per cup of vital wheat gluten. We get that from Azure Standard as well. You can get it online too. So there's 3 cups. We're at 487. So it looks like it's going to be about 3 1/3 cups. There we go. So to the water, we're just going to add our 500 grams of flour. Trying to make sure stuff's out of your way enough. All I'm going to do is roughly mix this together, like really rough. Just take your hand and kind of make sure that your water and your flour are lightly combined without getting it on the counter. It's like a shaggy dough is, I believe, what they call it. You're not getting fancy. You're literally just making sure that all your flour and your water are combined roughly to make a blob. That's it. I like to try to get the sides a little bit cleaned down so they don't get like dried out as we do this. But I'm going to clean my hand off. By the way, my hand was clean when we started. But if you want to use dirty hands when you cook, I don't care. I'm just kidding. Okay, and then we're going to take a towel, clean towel. You're going to put it over the top, and then you're going to wait about 30 minutes for this to absorb the water and the flour together. Basically, the water is just going to kind of saturate that flour. So we're going to wait 30 minutes. I'm out of breath for no reason. Awesome. In 30 minutes, we'll be back to do the next step, which is going to be adding your starter and your salt to your sourdoughs. And then the fun begins, right? You get to have all kinds of fun doing stretch and folds. As long as you're home for the day, this is a good recipe. If you're going to be out and about, it's kind of hard to do this recipe because you do have to be a little bit hands-on, but not like overly hands-on, if that makes sense. Anyways, we'll be back in 30 minutes. And by the way, my clicker my clicker died. So you just have to deal with me. Bye. All right, guys, we're back. It's been 30 minutes and we're going to do the next step to our sourdough. So right now we just have the flour. I don't have a mic on. I do have a mic on. Is it on? Yeah, we're good. This is just the flour and water, and we let it just sit. It basically looks exactly the same as it did. It didn't change much. The next thing we're going to do is add our starter, our active starter. I fed this morning, and it's nice and puffy now. So he can't help it. He just has to.
I got to go back to work.
That was his guest appearance. See you tomorrow. So you wait till it's doubled in size from where it was this morning. And oh, by the way, I totally was trying to get my phone set up on the tripod and I called 911. Did you know that if you hold the side button, it calls 911? Don't ask me how I learned. Okay, so all we're going to do now for the lemon blueberry one, like I said, I have 2 going, and so I'm doing this for my own mental thing, but this is just the one we're working on. I need 75 grams of active starter. Whoop. Let me turn my scale back on. It's usually like half a cup-ish of starter. I added a little too much, but it's okay. We'll just not fully use it all. But it's about a half a cup of active starter. And so we're just going to blop that in there. And then you're going to add 10 grams, which is about a teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my teaspoon and make my life easy. I don't put it right on the starter that we just put in there. I kind of put it around the edges so that it doesn't try to, I don't know if it can kill the starter, but that's just what I do. All we're going to do now is mix it together loosely. And so it's going to feel a little bit dry, and that's okay. You just kind of want to, if it feels really dry, add a touch more water, but I work with a pretty dry dough. I know some people like more hydrated. I like to work with a little bit drier. It's a personal preference. If you are a wetter dough lover, just add a little more water. Be careful though, only add a couple grams at a time because it adds up really quick. So I'm just really loosely, there's our dough ball, putting it together so the starter and the salt are incorporated into the flour that was already there. And when I say rough, I mean like really rough. Okay, that is it. I'm going to cover it with a towel again and wait. Yeah, it's like guaranteed that if I push the start button on my camera, Ruger's going to go crazy. It just is. So I'm just going to set that to the side for 30 minutes, and then we're going to come back and do our next set of stretch and folds. Don't forget our blueberries and our lemon. I have them just sitting to the side, but we will add those later on. So for right now, just those 4 ingredients, just chilling in our bowl, 30 more minutes. All right, guys, we are back. It has been 30 more minutes. To be honest, this hasn't changed much. It kind of looks the same. You're going to do what we call a stretch and fold. If you've never made sourdough before, all that you are going to do is take your hand and scoop it and flip it around the dough. Essentially, that's what we're doing. So I'm going to tip it so you can kind of see. I scoop underneath it, I pull up, and I fold it on itself. It is going to be sticky. Turn the bowl, and you're going to do the same thing until you get all the way around your sourdough. I do 1 time around the bowl for that one, and that's it. And then you're going to wait 30 more minutes to do it again. The next stretch and fold is when we're going to add our lemon and blueberry mixtures. So what I'm going to do so I don't forget is set them over here now. So let me show you kind of, our blueberries have puffed up. You can't really see much, but the lemon has like absorbed the brown sugar, and it's made this like lovely sweet lemon zesty mixture. It's going to be awesome in there. So I'm just going to set this to the side. 30 minutes, we will be back, and I will show you the next step. 30 minutes. All right, we're on to our second stretch and fold, and our dough, I mean, honestly, it hasn't changed much. At this point, we're gonna do our add-ins to get our loaf kind of now transformed to the blueberry lemon that we were aiming for. I am going to take the blueberries that we have been soaking, that was the hot water and the maple syrup. I'm gonna drain them really quick. I'm just gonna use my hand to do it. So they've puffed up just a little bit, not much. We're gonna dump those in there. And then we're gonna add this is the lemon zest and brown sugar mix. We're gonna pop that right in the bowl. And we're now gonna do our stretch and folds just like you normally would, but we're gonna incorporate the blueberries and lemon into it as we go. So I'm gonna spread the lemon out just a little bit because it kind of just clumped up a little bit. Same with the blueberries. So all I did was move it around so that it kind of is all over the top of the surface. Put one back there. Stretch and fold again. So same thing, you're gonna pull it up, fold it on itself. Pull it up, fold it on itself. I go around the bowl. I'm gonna do it 2 times. Whoops, my blueberries are flinging out at me. And as I do it, I'm gonna kind of push down. It's so hard to see in this bowl. I need a clear bowl. Push down a little bit when you do it, and that's gonna pick the blueberries up off the bottom that have now kind of squished to the bottom. Okay. All right. This is definitely more moist now. So it's definitely a different texture than I typically like to work with, but all I do is kind of shake it and fold. And I'm gonna go around a couple times to get our blueberries kind of incorporating into our dough. Now, as it rises, or does its little thing the next time. So for now, it's just kind of, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of lightly pushed into our dough. As it's kind of doing its thing the next go around, while I let it sit, it'll kind of flatten back out to the bottom of the bowl, and I'm hoping that the blueberries stick a little bit more at that point, because right now they're kind of falling out a little. They're falling out a little bit. Some stuck, some are sitting at the bottom. So we're starting to get beautiful little bubbles from our sourdough yeast, though, which is nice. Okay, that was like 16 times around the bowl. I don't want to break the bubbles that we're starting, but I wanted to get the blueberry and the lemon kind of incorporated a little bit more. We're gonna do 2 more stretch and folds, 1 or 2 more, depending on how it looks. But for now, I'm just gonna cover that up. 30 more minutes. If you want to start putting it in a warm place, you can. My warm place that I usually set it is I set it on top of my oven, and then I'll just turn this on low if I've been using my oven. The other thing that I do is I put it in my microwave. We have a bottom light that we can turn on. Oh, great, it's burned out. So that option will not work. That's interesting. It's a brand new bulb. If you have the light on the bottom, it will heat up your microwave just enough to be a really good proofing box. You can also use a seed mat for seed starting. They just plug in and they just have like a low temperature. The other thing you can use is a heating pad for like your back or whatever, and just lay it on the counter and set this on that. If you do that and you have granite, I would put it on top of a cutting board. You don't want direct heat on your granite. It just does funky stuff to granite. So I would put it on a cutting board. And you can use a blanket if you want to wrap it up and do that. Whatever you want to do to start adding just a touch of warmth to this. It's summertime here, and I keep my house at 80 degrees during the day because I don't want to pay a really high air conditioning bill. So it's plenty warm in my house. So what I'm going to do is set the timer for 30 minutes, and I'll be back to show you the next fold. See you in 30. Okay, we are back, and we're going to do the next stretch and fold. Our dough is just looking like a blob. So it has settled back down into the bowl like I was hoping, and I'm hoping that it absorbs some of those blueberries a little bit. Hands are clean, I just washed them, and we're going to do another set of stretch and folds. So the texture is changing on this bad boy. So just pull up and fold on itself. Pull it up, fold it on itself. I'm going to go around. I think this is going to incorporate really nicely, though. But Let's see. It is wetter, and the sugary lemon mixture is making it kind of separate a little bit. So you can see each of my stretch and folds kind of unfolding from the last, but that's okay. It'll be just fine. We're going to stretch and fold backwards, and I'm going to hold it with the other hand to keep it in a ball. Okay. So it is now shaped into like a little dough ball, and it's very slippery. I'm going to cover it with a towel. I'm going to set it for another 30 minutes and come back and do one more stretch and fold. Okay, you guys want my rant for the day? So our middle child moved to Canada, and I feel like an absolute idiot trying to figure out, like, for birthdays, we usually go out to dinner. And since we can't do that, I said, oh, I'm going to buy you guys a bread machine. I'm going to send you a bread machine because they want to be able to make bread like we do here at home. Well, I can't even order from Amazon. I can't order from Walmart in Canada. The conversion rate is like, I feel like an idiot. The ingredients are wrong. I can't get bread flour that's anything I've ever heard of. I'm going to have to learn how to be a Canadian a little bit here. So if you are in Canada and you guys have a really good bread flour that you like, everything I keep looking up is Robin Hood. Never heard of it. If it's good, let me know below. Or if you guys know of any places that I, as an American, can buy stuff and ship it without crazy taxes and duties and blah, 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 blah stuff. My kid keeps sending me abbreviations like CAD and US. Dude, I don't have a clue what this is. So I'm going to have to get an education to be Canadian. Anyways, if you're Canadian and you have any favorite ingredients that you use for breads, like flours that you like, or yeast companies that you like, hit me up below because I would really like to know what some of you guys use, because obviously being in America, we have different ingredients than you guys do. So let me know below, and we'll be back in 30 minutes to do our next stretch and fold. All right, we're back. It's been 30 more minutes. This should be our last stretch and fold. So here's our dough. It's kind of just chilling still. It starts to change texture, and you can start to see it get some of the little bubbles. So I'm going to do the stretch and fold again. Again, that just means you're kind of lifting it up and folding it on itself. And I go around in a circle. Our blueberries and lemon zest are getting nicely incorporated into our dough. I have a few clumps of the lemon zest that I'm trying to work into it as I'm doing this. But I also don't want to overmix it at this point, because you want your bubbles to kind of, your yeast bubbles to kind of stay put now. But I'm finding that if I do it with two hands to hold the fold that I did, if that makes any sense. Let me see if I can tip this bowl. So I'm folding it with one hand, folding it over and holding it with my other hand. This is really hard to see as I break my bowl. And that's kind of helping me keep the ball shape that I want to keep by doing it two hands. When I do typical sourdough, which is what I have going over here, I don't have to do that. But the moisture that I have added is making this a little bit different to work with. So I'm going around 3 times. And I'm doing that just because I really want those blueberries incorporated nicely into our loaf. And then I've been flipping it over so that the seal where I just did all my stretch and folds is facing down. And then I'm just going to cover it again. At this point, though, instead of 30 minutes, I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to let it go for 2 to 3 hours. At that point, I will check it and get it ready to put into our, I don't use bannetons. I use bowls lined with fabric. At that point, we'll do that step. So just for now, it just needs to kind of do its thing. You want it to ferment a little bit and start to kind of incorporate the bubbles and let it do its thing. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'll be back in a couple hours to check in with you. Oh, and by the way, in the 30 minutes of stretch and folds, I did figure out how to order a bread machine for my kid. You send him money and you let him do it himself. So that's what we did. So then they can go figure out what they want because they are full-grown adults and I don't need to figure it out for them. Isn't parenting fun? Anyways, we'll be back in a couple hours. Okay, we are back. It has been, I don't even know how many hours, you guys. I gotta be honest with you. It is the tail end of the day. It's 8:15 at night, and it's time for us to get these guys shaped and into our bannetons. So I know if you've seen us before, I do not use a traditional banneton. I have some Pyrex bowls that I use. I line them with a flour sack towel, and I put just all-purpose flour in there. So I have that ready to go. I just find that works easier for me, and it was something I already had. So if you guys are newer to our channel, you know, we don't like to spend money if we don't have to. I already had all that on hand, and so that is what we use. So our dough looks like that. I'm going to put a little bit of flour down on my counter. I just wiped all my counters down because we just finished dinner. So my oldest son is moving out in, I don't even know what day it is. He's moving out on Saturday, the 29th. So this will be probably up the day before that, maybe. I don't know. But he's getting ready to move out, and trying to explain to your children how to pack to move is like a lost cause. It's stressing me out to the max, and he doesn't seem to be bothered at all. So I'm kind of like, well, you know what? When the moving truck gets here and your stuff is all over the floor in your room, this is not a me problem. This is a you problem. I say that, but then I'm going to be panicking. Anyway, so we have our, I just dumped it out. All I'm going to do is stretch it out into like a rectangle. This also helps continue to distribute our blueberries, which you can kind of see in there, and our lemon zest. This is looking pretty tasty. I'm going to fold this halfway, fold this on top of it. I give it a turn, do the same thing. I fold and fold. So you now have like a pile. And then to shape our dough, I'll put a little more flour down. I cup under one edge and I pull it towards myself. You kind of want it to grip the counter, so I probably shouldn't have put quite so much flour, but it's fine. But I tuck under and I pull towards me. Some of the blueberries are falling out, but we'll just push them back in there. Pull out and pull towards you. And that's going to make it like nice and taut, nice and tight. As you do that, you can see some of our sourdough bubbles coming to the surface. Our blueberries are going to get kind of absorbed down into there. We have a beautiful loaf now. I don't know if you could kind of see that, but I just tuck underneath and pull. Tuck underneath and pull. And it's going to kind of create a little, I don't want to lift it up because it's going to mess up the bottom, but it'll pull all that stuff towards the center and make a nice, beautiful, this is definitely a wetter dough because of those blueberries, but that's okay. That's kind of what we wanted. I'm super excited to try this one. Like I said, our banneton, all I'm going to do is take this and flip it over. And then I just sprinkle a little more flour on top of it so that it doesn't stick to the towel. I'm going to fold that towel loosely on top. And then I do what is called a bulk ferment in the refrigerator. You can also do it on the counter if you want to do like same day-ish cooking. I'm going to let it go overnight, and I'll probably cook it tomorrow like at noon-ish. So I don't know how many hours that is, but 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-ish hours. You can do it as low as 8 hours too. So I will show you once it has bulk fermented in the refrigerator, and I'll show you tomorrow once I pull it out and get it ready to cook in the oven. I did, by the way, I usually cook in a cast iron, like a Dutch oven. I have a couple different varieties of them, some cheaper ones, some more expensive ones. And I actually was just at a thrift store recently and found a terracotta one for $4. I think I have to cure it in order to use it, and I haven't done that yet. So we'll see if I can do that and use it or not. I'll probably stick with my little guy that I got from Aldi for pretty cheap. If not, I have my La Crusette. But my La Crusette, like I've told you guys this before, the very first time I used it, it's a vintage one. We got it when we were very first married, like 20 million years ago. And it was a plastic knob and it melted. But La Crusette was nice enough to send me a new knob that's like a beautiful copper. It looks hideous on my pot though. So it is all good. La Crusette is worth the money. It lasts forever. We've had that pot forever and we use it all the time. But anyways, for tonight, I'm just going to pop these in the refrigerator and let them just kind of ferment and do their thing. I keep saying these because I have a regular sourdough going as well. So I'm going to get that one going and get them in the refrigerator, and I will see you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Is that what they say? I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Hey, guys. We are back. It is day 2. I pulled, let's see, what time is it? It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I pulled these out this morning at about 8 o'clock to let them come to room temperature, and now it is time to get baking. They puffed up beautifully overnight. So, like I said, I just put them in my in a bowl, and I just line it. So all I do is take that and I kind of flip it out. And then if I put enough flour, this should just pull off pretty easily. Seems to always be my trouble issues when I add mix-ins. So I'm hoping we do okay. But no, it's going to be a pain. All right. I try to over flour so this doesn't happen, but it just does. It's okay. It'll be part of the design. It's not like I'm selling them. I'm just making them for consumption in my home. So it's okay if they look a little funk. Come on, though. If I was not filming, this wouldn't happen. Just so you know. Watch, I bet you the sourdough with no flavor that I have over wherever it's behind me on the stove, I bet you that one's going to be beautiful just because I didn't film that one. But okay, well, this is just going to be what it is. Just do my best to pull it. Well, it expanded beautifully. I'm just going to do one little score on the side with my bread lame. This is being a heck of a loaf now. I probably let it proof a little too long on the counter, to be honest. That's why it's flattening out. I don't preheat my pans. I used to. Then I decided to do an experiment just to see if I needed to. I did not. So I don't preheat. All I'm going to do is lift this and put it right. It's on some parchment paper, by the way. I'm just going to lift that and put it right into my pan. I'm going to put the dome on this one before I put it in the oven. I have my oven preheating at 450 degrees. I'm going to cook this with the lid on for 25 minutes. And then at the 25-minute mark, I will remove the lid and cook it for another 20 to 25 minutes, depending on kind of what it looks like at that point. Like I said, I'm actually going to do two at the same time. This bread baker I got at Aldi. They had them for like $20 and they went in like a day. This one is a Lodge one I've had forever. It works just as well as some of the fancy ones that you guys can get. And I actually prefer this over my La Crusette. My La Crusette smokes really bad when I use it in the oven. I don't know why. So I'm going to pop these in for 25 minutes and then I will bring you back at the halfway mark to show you kind of where we are. All right, guys, it's been 25 minutes. If you guys have been around a while, you know that my oven is 80-something years old and she doesn't exactly move heat around correctly. So when I do two thick pans like this, I have to flip-flop them and move one to the back and one to the front. So it's kind of a little shuffle, but it's okay. I'm going to move this one back. So my regular sourdough is hiding back here. Ugh. I'm going to take our lid off of our, oh no, come off. Our blueberry kind of had a little oops. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so there's our blueberry. It's nothing fancy yet. Hopefully it puffs up better, but putting her in the back. Our regular sourdough is just going to get moved to the front. It's not doing anything special either yet. And we're just going to reset our timer. Alexa, set a timer for 25 minutes. We're going to set our timer for 25 more minutes. And hopefully in those 25 minutes, magic happens and my sourdough looks beautiful. But so far, I didn't want fancy loaves, but you always want them to at least look pretty. So we'll see in 25 minutes if they get the nice crusty top that I'm hoping for. See you in 25. All right, y'all. It is done. It is time to pull it out of the oven and see what we ended up with. Hopefully, it's good. All right, the front one is our traditional sourdough. And usually I can just grab this and lift it out. I don't know if you guys care to see this one, but there's a traditional sourdough. It puffed up beautifully. So that's that guy. And then let's see this lemon guy. He's in the back, so I'm hoping it didn't burn. I burned the heck out of it. Well, shoot. That is one burn loaf, you guys. That sucks. Really bad. Like real bad. Well, that was 2 days of filming a video that didn't turn out. Awesome. Well. Shoot! At least the sourdough for tonight's dinner turned out, but this is, let's see if it's even salvageable. Well, you know, the joy of sourdough is you literally can work for 2 days and you end up with a burned loaf of bread. What a pain in the butt. I mean, it's pretty. Let me grab a cutting board and a knife. We'll just cut it and see if it's savable. Now, that's what happens when you have an 80-year-old oven, is it just thinks it's fun to destroy stuff. It's a beautiful loaf if you don't look at the top. Here, look at that side. That's pretty right there. Let me grab my other bread knife. Okay, back in December, November, I was telling you guys I couldn't find a bread knife. I actually got 2 for Christmas, and I love both of them. This one is, and they're both from Amazon, and they're both pretty reasonable. This is an Abioto, Abioto. It was like 20 bucks. That one is awesome. One of my kids got me that one. And then I got the bow knife. This one is, goodness, I'm just going to spell these. Tyoroaro. This one I love doing slices of bread with. This one I love for sourdoughs because I don't want perfect slices. I want to be able to do wedges or whatever I want to do. So let's just cut it, see what the inside ended up like. Because if it's just a burn on the top, we can still eat it. It's fine. Oh, it's hot. I'm gonna go figure. Just pull it out of 450-degree oven. Unbelievable. But look at the inside. Oops, it's nice and crispy. The inside is beautiful. I'm super excited to still try this one though. I'm totally gonna eat it tomorrow for breakfast. Actually, I lied. I'm probably just gonna slice it right now and try it because it just is what it is. Y'all, this sucks. But I'm gonna make this one again. I'm gonna feed my starter in just a few minutes and make another loaf of the exact same bread. And I'll cook it for probably 10 minutes less next time. But let's take this little burned chunk off of here. What do the blueberries look like? They're gonna be hot. That's gonna be molten lava, you guys. Usually I shove stuff in my face for you. I don't know about that with this guy. Ooh, hot. Okay, the blueberries are awesome in it. Let's just try to cool that piece down enough to eat. You can totally taste the lemon too. By the way, if you're wise, you don't cut sourdough until it's fully cool. But since this loaf is pretty ruined anyways, it's not ruined, it's delicious actually. I'm still gonna eat it because it's 2 days of effort and a lot of ingredients to waste. Yes, the top got burned, but when you do a little slice of it, like I did, just rip it off. The blueberries are bomb in there. The lemon is really good. It's friggin' hot. But you can see the blueberries stayed like whole. It's delicious, you guys. I'm gonna make another loaf of it using the exact same recipe. I'm just gonna cook it for a little less time, and I'm only gonna do my 1 loaf instead of doing 2 at the same time. I'll just do 1 loaf and I'll give it a whirl, and I will update you guys in a future video of what we got. The flavor overall is fantastic though. The blueberries are great. Okay, well, so it was kind of a flop, but it's just my oven's fault. It wasn't the loaf's fault. And it's still really pretty. Look at that. The inside is beautiful. Look at all those big old pockets. And the blueberries spread evenly. The lemon is all spread throughout there as well, evenly. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to toast that up tomorrow with a little bit of butter on it for breakfast. I'm making that one again for sure. It just isn't beautiful on top. But next time I want it to be a little more like this guy. That one turned out beautiful. But that one's going with our dinner tonight. So anyways, I will have the recipe below. If you guys are sourdough makers, definitely worth trying a lemon blueberry. I wouldn't have thought, oh, that's what, yeah, I did think. Otherwise I wouldn't have made it. It's delicious. I think the only one that tops this, okay. If you guys were around at Christmas, we did like a whole bunch of weird flavored sourdoughs. At Christmas time, we did a cranberry one. That one was delicious. And then we did like a chocolate one. That one was also bomb. We did an eggnog. And anyway, so if you're interested in other flavors, looking around on our channel, we do kind of some crazy ones. This is definitely throwing things on the floor. This is definitely one. I'm throwing my mic on the floor too. This is definitely one I'm going to redo and try again. So I'm going to get my sourdough starter out right now, give it a feed, and get it going today. Thanks for watching, guys.